Took me some time to get to the place that you wanted me to be. I know it was never you. I just needed to work on me. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to love. I'm ready.
Hey guys, welcome to LITTLEBLACKBOOK91. We are here sitting down with Damonte from Ready to Love this recent season. Yes, he was the first to go, unfortunately, on the first night. But he's going to give us his particular journey and his experience on Ready to Love. And as always, I want you guys to keep it classy, keep it cute, and keep it kosher in the chat as well. And don't forget, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. He has told me to tell you guys, disclaimer, please. His smoke alarm is smoking. It's just suddenly gone off, so we have to give him some grace. So if you do hear a beep in the background, it is not a beep test for you to start running. It is his smoke alarm. So disclaimer put there ahead of himself. Damonte, how you doing today, Captain?
Brother, I am great. Thank you for the opportunity, man. Appreciate you.
Not a problem at all, Captain. You know what I mean? It's good to have you on board, and I hope we're going to have one of those great, amazing conversations going forward today as well. But before we do, listen, I like to do something that we call human verification, some HV, baby. Okay, I want to make sure that you actually are a human being. You know what I'm saying to you? So, listen, because you can easily be AI, you know what I mean? So we definitely want to chop it up right with you, first and foremost. So my first question for you is, if you had a plane and it can land anywhere in any country of your choice, where would you want that plane to land?
I've always wanted to go to like San Lucia, Grenada, over there in the islands. When I was in college, I went to college with people from the Caribbean. Had some beautiful personalities, man. So I always wanted to kind of dip in there and see what's going on over there.
Okay, love it. Okay, cool, love it. Caribbeans, I mean, you've been before? I'm guessing you've been to.
No, I have never gone. That's one place I always wanted to go. So that in Jamaica.
Okay, so it's honest. Down in Jamaica. Listen, I was there just earlier this last year. I was there with a couple of guys, and it was a really good time. I can't lie to you. So maybe if we go again, we'll invite you, Captain. Make sure you get you out there.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you.
No worries, Cap. Second question for human verification is favorite flavor ice cream.
Cookies and cream. Cookies and cream is my favorite ice cream. I would go down on a pint of ice cream after I done worked out and kill it at 11 o'clock at night.
I'm with you on that one, brother. Is there a particular brand? That you
Bluebell. Bluebell. Got to go with Bluebell.
Okay.
You know, the older you get, you can't eat every ice cream, man.
Yeah, listen, the lactose and not be tolerant.
You hear me?
It'll be you in the toilet for a little while, so yeah.
Man,
you
as soon as you get, hey man, as soon as you get ready to go, you hit that door handle. Somebody like, oh shit, you got to go.
you go running. You go hold it.
Yeah.
So I hear you on that one still. Third question. If you had one last meal that you could eat, what would that last meal be? So the last meal that you could ever eat, what would it be?
Because I'm a faith believer in regards to last meal, I wouldn't put it on my last meal, but I put it as my favorite meal. I would probably say some lamb chops, or either steak, potatoes with some asparagus and garlic toast.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. I hear it.
Grilled.
It's fashionable. Okay, I'm with it, brother. You said you're going to get the high class.
Uh-huh. You hear me?
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all. Well, and my final question in human verification: is cereal or the milk in the bowl first?
Cereal. Golden
Okay. Any particular
Crisp.
cereal?
Golden
Golden
Crisp.
Chris.
Can't get enough
Okay.
of those Golden Crisp. Hey man,
Listen, I'm with it. I'm with it. Don't worry. And I'm liking the energy as well too. All
yeah.
right. Listen, you've passed our human verification, baby. Okay. That
Hey
means
man,
we're gonna get deeper into some conversation. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit deeper. All right. So listen again for those of you who just joined us, audience members. Damonte was a part of Ready to Love, this recent season. That is in Fort Loveworth, I think it is. And we got to see him on the very first episode, and so we're looking to chop it up with him and just get to know him a bit better outside of the show first, and then know about his experience on the show. As always, keep it class, keep it cutie, keep it kosher in the chat as well, and make sure you're liking, you're sharing, and you are subscribing. So, Devontae, before obviously Ready to Love, you are your own entity as well. Want to know what is Demonte's story? Who is Demonte and what is Demonte's story?
whew, man, appreciate your opportunity on that. Man, I am a brother from born and raised from Dallas, Texas. 43 years old, be 44 this year. Single, no kids. Worked in the mortgage industry for 13 years. And I got to get this disclaimer again. My smoke detector is going off, but but no, I am. I worked in the mortgage industry before I started my own business 5 years ago. Um, I'm just a hardworking brother. Played football, ran track, played at MSU. Um, I'm in a fraternity. I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated.
Okay.
Played Spring '01. Uh, I started this business called Elements of Style. Got tired of they always say when you're a great leader, you always been up on a great leadership. So right before the pandemic had hit, a lot of people said, "Man, you should start your own business." I had always had an eye for fashion, so I started my business in 2018. 2019, I did my first fashion show at an antique furniture shop. It sold out within 2 months. Then my second fashion show, that's when COVID first hit. That was in 2019. That sold out as well. Needless to
Okay.
summarize it, I did 8 sold out fashion shows in Dallas, Texas during the pandemic. It was a blessing. I taught myself how to do photography. I taught myself how to do videography. I'm a published book author as well that you can get the book on Amazon. Don't be afraid to show the world your signature look. Let me see. I'm an educator as well. I teach middle school kids, so my patients have actually grown. I have a lot of little nieces, a lot of little nephews that I have to build up every day. So I love working with the kids. A lot of times people don't say, "Man, these kids nowadays is totally different." I love working with kids because they deal with so much stuff that we haven't dealt with or we haven't saw. So working with kids, being an educator is actually fun. I'm actually getting ready for New York Fashion Week. This Sunday I'll leave out. I'm a designer as well, so this is the first time I'll be a part of New York Fashion Week, and I'm just blessed, man. So I've gotten to this point through hard work and just branding myself and just doing a lot of content and learning that everybody is not going to understand what your fashion sense is, and I had to be okay with that.
Totally understand that. Totally understand that. Wow. I mean, so obviously, you had your own business that well, I guess you run some shows during COVID, a time where, you know, um, businesses were shutting down, and we weren't sure how, life was going to operate after that as well. And I saw a post on your Instagram as well. I think you had, was that New York Fashion Week as well. So
Mm-hmm.
you're obviously accomplished in that area as well. Tell us a little bit maybe about how you began and what prompted you to go into fashion and what's inspiring you to get to that place.
Man, I got tired. Honestly, bro, I got tired of being laid off as a contractor. Even in the mortgage industry, you get tired of laying off. You work your ass off 2 months, 3 months. Companies shut down because they losing files. And so during that period, man, I just kind of like, man, I got to figure this out. If I want to get married, if I want to create this empire that I wanted to build, I got to do what's best for me. So, still working through in corporate, doing corporate and establishing myself as a leader. I'm a singer as well, so I sing. I sing at church, sing on a praise team. So I've learned that to balance my faith. And so when my faith was driving, I said I got to figure this out. So I didn't know anything about doing fashion shows. I didn't know anything about conducting me as a business entity. I kind of learned it on the fly. I didn't know anything about doing productions. I didn't know anything about playwriting or because I wrote my own play and skits as well. So I didn't know anything about this. This is self-taught through faith and just learning your craft. And through that, man, people start driving. They start understanding, like, man, this brother's really serious about what he do. I'm from Oak Cliff, Texas. I'm from the hood. There was 7 of us in a 1 bedroom growing up. My granny was the candy house where all the dope dealers and everybody that was on the trap, they respected my grandmother. So when I have support from the hood, I got support from the hood. Now it's like, hey, we want to see you make it. You know what I'm saying? So that's D right there. You know, we know where you come from. You know, my mom is a preacher. You know, my grandfather was a bishop. So I have all this support. But the same token, I'm not perfect by any means. So it just through my drive, man, just to, tired of being laid off, tired of being, a pillar or a step stool for people. And I said, I got to figure this out. So that's what made me drive me to be who I am today.
Man, I love that, man. You know, that drive obviously as well is so important in it, right? Because that's what usually guides people to being successful, and going, you know, above and beyond to that. Even that when it gets to a point where someone like COVID comes on, you're able to overcome. So obviously, for you in that space, like you said, you you have a lot of things going on, right? You have a lot of things that were going on, a lot of things that were, a lot of jobs that you seem to be heavily involved with as well. Fashion is something that is a creative thing. So, sometimes people say that they have freedom from being able to create.
Mm-hmm.
What does fashion mean to you?
Well, fashion means is you're your own. Whatever's in your head, fashion is you. Whatever look that you have in your head, whatever you envision, you have to be confident of who you are at first, and that brings it to life. I can put a really nice outfit on someone, or a client, or a model, or things of that sort, but if they don't have the confidence behind it, that brings a whole different element. So what fashion means to me is actually you have to be confident who you are individually, and then the fashion aspect will come to life. So, if you feeling like extra is want to, rock a whole bunch of extravagant colors, that's solely how you feel today. So fashion is you. That's what makes fashion.
Love that. Love that. Okay, so obviously, you're in fashion now, but when you were younger, was that your dream? Were you wanting to be in fashion, or was that something else that Damonte had on his mind as a young kid?
Bro, I was a athlete. I ran track and played football for about 13 to 14 years. I ran summer track to football, to summer track to football. So my whole thing is running a 4.38 as when I was in high school and first year in college, I was like, man, I'm gonna make it to the league. I'm 5'10". I was probably at the time I was probably about 185, 190. I'm grown man weight now, probably about 210, 215, somewhere up in there. So the athleticism has always been there, man. So when it came to growing up as a kid, I was just an athlete. I'm like, I'm gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came from.
Wow. Okay, so you was into track athlete
Yeah,
as well.
track, played football, played defensive back for Carter High School and MSU. So,
What was your discipline?
huh?
What was your discipline in track?
I ran the 4x4, man. We ran. I think the fastest we ran was 3:13, and that was my junior.
Jeez.
That was my. I think my fastest split was 48.5. So we was rolling, man. We was rolling.
Okay, he was a bit mean still. I like it. So wait. Obviously, you ran track, did a bit of football as well. Why not pursue those particular arenas?
Well, I
And
had
and
messed up my.
and
So the funny thing about my injury, I
oh, you
messed
were
up
one of
my
them.
knee. Yeah, I was hooping. I wasn't supposed to be hooping during the off season. Came down on a rebound playing intramural basketball and messed up my inner cruciate. You know what I'm saying? The
Oh,
little ligament that's right between your kneecaps. So my lateral movement is shot. Dog. I don't have
the
it.
stability.
Yeah, dog. I could be walking or back and back, and I buck and walk back the wrong way. It's like, what the hell? It happens. But I never had surgery on it too, man. So that pretty much shot my whole football career.
It's crazy because I'm not gonna lie to you. Listen, only recently, a couple of years ago, did I did my MCL not like a full on, but enough to say that, you know what, we ain't playing ball again. So I definitely hear what you're saying, and I wasn't even
Absolutely,
trying to do
man.
anything with it. So I definitely understand that as well. Okay, so obviously, as a young person, obviously, like I said, you had, maybe a different particular vision. You were looking into sports and stuff, and then you find yourself in fashion. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing. What was Damonte like, growing up, and where
Oh
did you grow up?
man, my God. So I grew up. My mom, I'm a single parent household. My mom was a single parent. She raised me. I had a good person that she dated. I transferred elementary schools like 7 times. I actually shared this story in my book, and she don't like every time I tell this story, she get emotional about it. My mom is a preacher and evangelist, by the way, and I got molested by my aunt, who's actually autistic, and I didn't start dealing with this till last year as a grown man.
Oh my
And
days.
I got molested at 5 years old. So at 5 years old, and I hit 5 years of my business, and I had to understand, why am I dealing with this now? So it's my eighth fashion show and my eighth month of my fashion show. And in 5 years that happened as a man, in 5 years, my my 5 year anniversary. So I'm like, God, why am I dealing with all these stuff? These numbers start adding up. And I had to put this stuff into perspective, but because I had never addressed this as a man. But now I'm like, I got to start addressing this in case I want to get married and things of that sort. So when it comes to my healing part, I never made myself vulnerable because the reason I'm so protective of my business, because I was violated in that area, and my business is my baby. And a lot of times people don't understand your story until they start diving right into the logistics of actually what happened. You know what I'm saying? So if that makes any sense. So my upbringing was very good, man. I'm very good. My mom always kept me on point, but it was always those little small points that kind of like you just never addressed it. You knew some stuff went on. As the older you get, you start understanding why you are the way you are.
Damn, that's a heavy hit right there.
Yeah, doc.
And it's interesting that you mentioned that, obviously not really knowing and not really coming face to face with that knowledge of that situation until a little bit later on in life, which I've heard that once or twice happen before as well. How did you deal? How did you process coming across the fact that that had happened to you at such a young age, but not knowing that until a much later space? Like, how did you process that information?
It was weird because I started waking up in the middle of the night. I started understanding, like, man, something is off. Um, I started being real spacey. I was really disconnected with the world. You know what I'm saying? I was disconnected, but I got more creative, if that makes any sense. I went
Yeah.
into a whole different stratosphere as to who I am as a person. And I knew the only way I can address these issues is I started having to meditate. I started having to pray a lot more. I had to start talking about it more. The more I talked about it, the more I started counseling myself, talking to my friends, and they was like, "Man, you need to really address this. You need to do this. You need to write it down, put it in a book, or just talking about it amongst men." And a lot of times, as men, we don't never talk about childhood hurt, which is very vital nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you coming from when you grew up in the hood, man. That shit ain't talked about, man. That's
Mm.
frowned upon. You keep it together, you keep it moving, but you don't talk about, you don't put your family up under the bus. And luckily, I have a good mother and a praying mother that actually looked out for me. And she actually, when I talked about it, she knew it happened, but we never talked about it. You know what I'm saying? Even now, I
That's
still
so
wrestle
good.
with it. And my aunt, I be like, damn, I can't stand her. You know what I'm saying? But it's something I'm dealing with personally now. So, I'm pushing through it.
Damn. So what brought it up that you found out that information? Like, was it just like a spur of the moment kind of situation? Was it just a
It was
you
like an
know?
untold secret because I talked to my sister, and she's like, yeah, dude, we kind of know. And I talked to my cousin. She said, yeah, why you think we stopped you from coming around her? Why you think this happened? Why you think that happened? It didn't. Once those puzzles started being implemented, it started making sense. Like, oh shit, that did happen. Dang. So it was like a blur. Everything was a blur because I was always busy. And then once I settled down and kind of understand who I was, everything started being like clear as day. Like really, it was weird.
Wow, that is heavy. That is heavy for you. I mean, obviously having to process that, like I said, obviously at a later stage, it's a different, unique perspective. Um, I mean, looking back, do you feel like that affected maybe some relationships that you were in, whether it's with family or with romantic
Um,
relationships?
I think it probably did. Reason why I say that because if you never address, childhood hurt, you never understand how to love yourself first. And when it came to making yourself vulnerable, that probably explains why I never had kids because it's like, oh, this is real. I probably pull out or something. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
when it comes to like making myself or establishing myself as a man, you never know what triggers what trigger. You know what I'm saying? Even now, I'm constantly like, maybe I need to get some counseling. Just for me because there's probably some untapped things I still need to attack. You know what I'm saying? As far as I noticed the older I gotten, the more emotional I get, which is weird. Like the color purple almost got me.
I hear you.
So just I'm still addressing those things. I'm still learning about myself as a man. So I don't think it affected me because I do know the characteristics of what I can bring to the table. But when it comes to myself opening up or expressing myself, hey baby, I love you. Hey baby, I miss you. Hey, or learning not to shut down when I get into show mode or production mode. Those are things I still need to learn how to compartmentalize and push forward with. And that's where I'm not perfect. And the thing about where I'm now, I have to have patience. You know what I'm saying? So,
Man, I definitely love that as well, and I think it's such a I haven't been through what you necessarily been through, but definitely I can identify with the fact that when you said about getting into work, shutting down everything else, and just kind of being so focused on that
mhm.
goal, or like I said, not being as vulnerable. I can definitely acknowledge that and really sit with that as well, and be like, yeah, me too. I had those struggles of wanting to be open, being vulnerable, because the fear of rejection, the fear of um, being seen and being not liked and stuff like that. You know what I mean? You have those thoughts, those feelings about not being accepted, almost a sense, right? If you share your feelings or your thoughts, and that vulnerability. So obviously, being in relationships where you couldn't necessarily share your vulnerability, what was that like? In terms of you being in relationships, then, because that's a major component of a relationship.
Man, I think the crazy part about it, if you don't know me, if you just coming off, it can come off as a little arrogant. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
When not knowing the person who's behind the suits or who's behind the beard or the tattoos. There's a lot more to the individual because once you start breaking down those layers, I said I had to dress up the pain until I was ready to heal. Meaning, don't
Mm.
get caught up in this facade of who I have to be, who I need to be, who I have to be when I go project. There's a man behind this thing, and I need you to see who I am first. And a lot of times, women nowadays they get caught up in when you start. Well, I need to take this. I want to go buy this badass dress. Yeah, baby, I can't take you out to eat because I got to go pay for this venue. I got to go pay for this photography equipment. There's a lot of layers that comes with entrepreneur, and a lot of times women don't have the patience for it. You know what I'm saying? And that could be where I can just say, hey, just be patient with me. Just let me go through. Let me get through this week. You know what I'm saying? Or let me get through this day. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how it is when
Mm.
you have to deal with a lot of different spirits yourself, and you have to
Yep.
learn how to facilitate and orchestrate. Okay, I don't know this person's energy, but here we go. You know what I'm saying? So you have to put yourself on, game face. But it's a lot that comes with it, man. And I think it has affected me. But one thing I learned about Tyler Perry, he said sometimes you have in Busta Rhymes, they said you have to be the most selfish, the most arrogant person to be who you are. And a lot of people ain't gonna understand it, but they gonna understand it. And they gonna when they see it, like, oh damn, we see why now. So
I definitely hear that as well. Definitely hear that. And that quote is obviously something I've come across as well before. I mean, obviously for you then, growing up, like I said, you had your own ambitions as a young kid, but when you get to high school, when you get to university, we tend to kind of form our identities in a different way.
mhm.
Tell us a little bit about your experience, and tell us a little bit about your experience, obviously going navigating high school and university. What was that like for Demonte?
So I was always pretty much I wouldn't say popular kid, but I was known, you know what I'm saying? Probably for, due to I have a sister, she's known as well. We come, we pretty much, we're people. So
Mm.
from a socialization standpoint, and my sister being a calico, me playing sports, we always has had people that, kind of like us, energy. I'm a goof troop. I'll be, I could be doing something random and just make a funny voice or do some Brandon Mac or, do something dumb. And so just growing up in college, I was always just a kid, you know what I'm saying? And like to have fun. I was always about life. Did I smoke weed or, drink? Nah. I didn't really start smoking cigars until I was in my late 30s and having a glass of whiskey like I'm having right now. But I was really a kid, man. And I think that's because I had a strict mother and a good childhood upbringing. I think that really leveled me out right now. You know what I'm saying? So it was cool.
I love that. I love that. So obviously for you, it's you've got some balance there when it went through to high school and everything. And obviously you were into your sports at the time as well too. So you'd have been heavily into that as well, right? So
Hmm. And I mean,
you was
and kicking it with the Sigmas.
exactly right. So you had also got to a point where obviously as well you chosen your crew. Do you feel like choosing your crew? Probably I'm even jumping ahead a little bit here as well by saying this. Um, was it a sense of comfort choosing a brotherhood because obviously as well, like you said, you grew up with a single mother as well. Was there also a bit of that missing piece of brotherhood, fatherhood, also playing a role in who you chose to rep as well?
Nah. The reason why I say that
No.
because I didn't need my organization to make me as a man, and I was already who I was, and I was already stepping out. I was already fashionable. I was already, pulling. I was always getting the beautiful women. You know what I'm saying? So they like, damn, D, how you pull that? I was the one that like, hey man, you gonna go talk to her when we was out and about? Like, damn, D, how many numbers you got? I was that dude. You know what I'm saying? So being in a part of the organization and needing the organization or a surrounding. I just so happened to be. I just had good friends, and we all had the same personality. That's what made everything pop off.
Mm, okay, I hear that. I hear that. Okay, I'm hearing it. Obviously, then you get into, like I said, you get to that stage in the life where you start to date. But before we get to that point, I mean, you said obviously you grew up with a single mother. Mum was a preacher. What was the relationship like with between you and your mum? Describe that for us. What was that like for you growing up?
Well, my mother is the type of woman that would call me and pray for me and start speaking in tongues if I feel like I'm having a bad day. And I'm like, Mama, this is what I got going on. And before you know it, before I know it,
She's in the spirit.
she'll start going in. Like, Mama,
She'll
I
be
just
in the
called to
spirit.
say I'm having a bad day. She said, in the name of Jesus, this is God. I'm like, Mama, okay. She done went in. So, but yeah, man, it's always a good to have a good support system. My aunt is a preacher as well. Her husband is one, so that.
It sounds like you next.
Yeah, nah, that ain't my calling. My Nah, that ain't my calling. Actually, be fun to be real, man. I actually have to deal with that when it comes to ministry. My business is my ministry. Uh,
Come on.
I have to deal with a lot of personalities. A lot of people have, came through. Probably had over 100 models that come rock with me over the years, and through that time, I've helped people build a personality. I've had models who dealt with, sickness or family issues, and they was like, "D, I needed this at this time. I need this for right now in my season of my life. Thank you." And so, when it comes to ministry, my business is my ministry.
Love that. So obviously, you obviously had a relationship with your mother as a single mother. She was also a preacher, etc., etc. But obviously, we don't know the story behind obviously your father in aspect. Was it I don't know if you mentioned. I don't know if what the story is there, but
Well,
maybe you can
my
fill in the
my
blanks for a little bit.
yeah, my father passed away when I was 26 years of age, and I didn't see him.
Damn.
Um, Probably I only seen my dad about 10 times growing up as a man.
Okay.
And when I
Okay.
seen him in a casket, I broke down like I seen that Joker every day. And it was
Damn.
weird because I didn't know I had that type of connection. My coaches and my coaches were my father figures and my uncles. That's who kind of kept me at bay with my manhood, and they'll cuss me out at the same time, love on you at the same time, but at the same token they'll keep you real. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't. My father really wasn't around. My mom got married, and I had a great, stepfather who came in, plugged in it when I was in middle school, right when I needed that transition. And so that's
Mhm.
why I enjoy teaching middle school, because that transition is so vital nowadays.
So for you, you're kind of almost helping the transition along. You know, you want to make sure it's smooth for
Yeah,
certain
but they
people.
they dog, they deal with a whole bunch of shit that we ain't we ain't have to deal with nowadays. Yeah, they deal with a lot, but yes.
I hear it. I hear it. So obviously, like I said, I love to maybe explore that a little bit. You said obviously, you know, you broke down in front of the, when you saw your dad, and it's like you didn't know you had that kind of depth
Mhm.
of feeling. What was that? What's that like then for you? What was that like in that time? And then because obviously, for every young man, fathers are important because obviously that's what we look up to first and foremost, and we model ourselves on them and stuff like that. But for you, obviously, like I said, you didn't necessarily had that same experience all the way through. So what was it? What was it like for you growing up with a father that was necessary? That was I don't want to say any separate or anything like that, but just I was growing up with a father and he wasn't in the home
So
per se.
I was always connected because my grandfather was a bishop who was actually his
Oh,
daddy. So there was always a connection, and he passed away in '95. So there was always a connection. So although I was disconnected from me, I was always connected with my granddad. So I didn't really feel that disconnect. Now my dad dealt with schizophrenia. He was on drugs. He dealt with a lot of stuff. He passed away downtown. Um, self-inflicted. However he passed. So he dealt with a lot. A lot of demons. I broke that generational curse in regards to what he had going on. So that was very important, and to not go down that path as far as being isolated when I do have a bad moment, or because the isolation as a man it's a bad place to be in. And because I knew my dad, I knew I had some type of trait of that in me, and I had to address that as well.
yeah. Listen, you're speaking good, man. I mean, myself. I feel it. I have that kind of avoidant trait.
Hmm.
That either if you hurt me or if you're getting too close and I'm not ready, that's when I start to become avoidant and pull away from the person, and that itself it becomes self-destructive in a relationship
Hmm.
after a while. So yeah, I'm definitely hearing you on that one, and commending the self-awareness to even see that as well. Going forward. So okay, so coming from like I said, coming from college, some people even do university after that. But then obviously for you, do you find love in that space at that time, or is that love coming a little bit later for you?
Oh man, I've dealt with when it comes to love. I've dated some beautiful women, Doc. I dated some beautiful
Mm.
women, but in the same token, I wasn't all over the place. But in the same token, that there was a time in my life that I wasn't ready to. When had a chick that hit you in the face because she don't know who your friends are, just shit. It was just like it was once. Case in point, I had a beautiful cousin that came over my house one time, and the chick I was dating just popped up in my crib. She didn't hear the voice in the back, and she just popped me in my lip when I came outside. I'm like, dang. So just randomly. So I'm just kind of giving you a then. On top of that, I called myself because I really loved the chick at the time. I was 24, 25. I was coming home from college. She had good hair. She was about 5'11", bad. So I gave her a promise ring. This is the funny part. I gave her a promise ring. So everybody seen me giving her a promise ring. They say, "Oh my God, it's an engagement ring." And so I had to run with it, Doc. It was the weirdest shit ever. So that was just one situation. But she was abusive. She was really crazy. Then a couple of years later, I dealt with thinking the child was mine. Did the DNA test. Did the whole baby shower. Co-workers got me stuff. I was 27 at the time, 28. I was had me a little old loft. I was making really good money. This is when REO mortgage was in it. So I was making good 70 right then. So um, yeah, was in the delivery room. Man, that DNA test came back, dot 0.5%. I said, boy, I tell you, I just I can't wait. This was in a cycle. Then I dealt with a person that was a how can you put it? I'm not trying to say it. She was a judge, attorney, whatever. She was an attorney at the time. Bro, I went to a friend's housewarming party, came home, car caught on fire at 3 o'clock in the morning. this was this was from 24 to 32. All this shit just going on back to back. I said, you know what? Maybe this dating thing ain't for me right now. I think I'm gonna chill. And these are beautiful women, Doc. And I said, I don't know if it was me or what I was putting out too good. I don't know what it was, but it was
Damn.
something. So from 24 to 28, 24 to 32, I didn't have the best of luck when it came to dating. So
Damn.
yeah, Doc.
So you got a cheated on story and an abusive one in a sense.
Oh, and I got my car burnt up. Yeah.
Sorry, what in the Diddy?
Yeah, at 3 o'clock in the morning. I came home, car was lit on fire. Well, I was actually at home. I had been home for about an hour. And it just so happened to be in flames when my neighbor knocked on my door. Yeah. Doc, I got some stories, man.
Okay, tell us. Okay, so obviously, why do you think there's that you keep ending up in these kind of relationships where there is wildness going on, some craziness going on,
Well,
some
I
mad
think
behaviors going on?
this is self-evaluation and this is self-reflection. Half of that has to be shutting down. And like I said, you get too comfortable, like, let me just not call today because I'm locked in on doing what I'm doing. And for whatever reason, I see why you ain't answer your phone. Or this social media wasn't really popular at that time. So it really wasn't social media. It was just me just being an introvert. You know what I'm saying? When we're together, I'm fine. And I just had to get out of that stage of just communicating more. I told myself this probably a couple of years, I'm a horrible communicator. But I'm a perfectionist at the same time. So once I started addressing why these things were happening and what was the common denominator, I had to look at myself, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was bad. I was, you know, the thing about it is it wasn't an option. It wasn't I didn't have it hard getting a woman, you know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of keeping the right one. But if the minute I felt like the energy was off, if I'm steady asking, hey baby, can I see you today? She's like, no, today ain't a good day, and my house ain't clean, or my kids here, and I feel like if I'm seeing you on a consistent basis and I'm never around to see your kids, then we don't need to talk. But you want me to come around. So as a man, as the older I start coming around, and I start seeing, oh, you want me to come out at 10 o'clock when the kids are going to sleep, then that was the denominator that was like, nah, I think I'm good. But in the same token, she still liked me, but she just want me to come around the kids. Now I don't know if you were still kicking it with your kids' daddy, but those are the situations that I dealt with. If we out together and we rolling around, well, I need to drop the kids off because I have always dated older women. Never really dated women my age. And so I started dating older women because I didn't want to deal with the verbal of, I gotta, the kids here and I just want to make sure. And I'm like, what you want to make sure? Hell, we doing I do. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point? So the minute I started getting that or rejection, that's when I shut down. And in hindsight, it wasn't always a good look. You know what I'm saying? We got along great, but it was one of the type of things where give me the same energy. If I want to come over and cook and show the characteristics I have, I need you to see me at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, at 8 o'clock. Don't call me when I got to go to work and next morning. No, because now I feel like we just doing our thing and you don't take me seriously. So I was shut down.
Wow. And so then you end up with these type of women because they also are looking for a type of energy, and you tend to represent that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Damn. So you get into obviously some relationships where one's abusive, another one is cheating as well. What does that do to your mindset then after you've after you've dated and experienced such experiences? What's your mindset?
I really need to develop a mindset. I think I developed a hardness. I'm like, damn, I can't trust none of these chicks. You know what I'm saying? Especially after thinking a child was mine. I think that was really devastating in a sense because I was, after my family had did the baby shower and I'm in the delivery room and you told my whole family, you know. after that particular that was the cookie. That was hurtful right there. But in the same token, I addressed it, and she seen me probably about 3 years afterwards. She's like, well, if you still want to come around, you still. No, it don't work like that. Um, so it was more so. How can I put it? It was weird, man. It was just I had to develop a hardness. That's what the app. I said, I'm gonna get it together. I'm gonna find me a wife. But the minute I found one, it was like I don't know. So it was like, damn, is she really real, or does she have some other stuff going on? So
Mm.
and so to make it, when you contracting, and this is the job stability part. When you contracting as a man, you're trying to get it together. When you feel like that making good money, but then again your job isn't stable because you're making it. But a lot of jobs wasn't hiring full time people. They just hiring for a temporary fix to get these portfolios out. And so as a man, psychologically, I wanted to say, well, I want to have my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? But in the same token, the older I got, like, hey, meet me where I'm at. And
Mm.
so I started having to address that, man, because I wanted to make sure I had my house. I want to have this, that, and the other. And it didn't always be like that. It wasn't like that all the time.
Damn. So just take me back though. This. I mean, these two stories, the cheating and the abuse one. How do we? Yeah, yeah. Okay. So maybe that's still the cheating one. Like, you know, for you, obviously looking at a relationship, looking back at it, was it always something that now, looking back, and that you should have never entered into it when you look at it from that perspective?
So I'm
Or
gonna tell you how crazy. Let me tell you how crazy this is, man. So the last couple of chicks I've dated, literally, I'm like, why I can't get a chick that's completely divorced and got all her stuff together? Like the last bad two chicks, either they was getting out of a divorce or had just got a divorce. It was just so I came. I haven't. It's very rare that I find one that just ain't talking to nobody. I'd rather find a chick there. I'm good. I ain't dating nobody. But I know that's the way we in. No, that's not gonna happen. So it's almost like you look at yourself and you're like, damn, well, shit. I know I inbox people every now and then, and you kind of have to self-evaluate yourself. Like, well, you don't never know what's going on, so it's kind of like a trust. You really have to say, you know what, I'm gonna trust this one, and I'm gonna move forward. But to go back on the abusive relationships and those type of relationships, you just have to have faith that person is genuine who she says she is. And the same token, I have to be open and vulnerable, and to make her feel comfortable to open up to me. And the same token, I probably not have given that energy where she's comfortable enough. She probably could say that similarly. Well, I'm gonna say this just to see if he's gonna react this way. And if I didn't give her what she needed, of course, that's her defense mechanism. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna tell him I'm talking to this dude just to see if he. Now, that's not the right way to do it, but it's some people do it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't the only one. So you know how people do it.
mm, no, I definitely hear that. Definitely hear that. Obviously, the audience are kind of asking what happened with the car getting, set on fire. What is up with these stories that are so wild?
Man, you know what they say? My granny said, "What do you got in your pants? It's making it too good." So you don't never think it's a sexual thing where if I can't have you, no. But I always told myself I never want to get loved that hard where somebody say I love you to death, and it was more so a psychotic thing that I was dealing with. And you pick up spirits, and that was a spirit that I didn't know I was dealing with to bring a head to that one. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with those type of people, in regards to you never know what they dealing with. Yes, they do what they do, but sometimes people dealing with life, man, they crazy, and so she was a tad bit crazy, man, very crazy. That was a whole movie. I can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry. I was saying that obviously you get to I mean, relationships are always a tricky one, but that is giving, build a project, or you like a build a bear boo, like to try and win the affection of that person. It's
Mm-hmm.
giving a little bit of that because you end up in two similar situations that are quite heavy, um, as well. So, the fact that you said obviously that the cheating part, the house is getting set on fire, kid's not mine. I need to know, wait, the kid's not mine situation. What is that
It
story?
was
What's
just
that
one.
story?
It was just one child. It was one child. So I dealt with this chick. She was, we dated. We didn't date in high school. She was a couple years older than me, and we started dating. And the thing about it is, I was actually protected, and I knew that it wasn't mine. But she was so adamant, Doc, that it was my child. That I had been brainwashed. This is my baby. But I knew there was a percentage that even though you strap up, it can, things happen, whether it busted or something. So after, calling me kick rocks and things and that, she had cut me off. That's the crazy part. I didn't get to the part. She had actually cut me off. Don't call me, don't text me, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. I mean, bitch, you lying. So it was one of the type of things where, me being up with my upbringing, I said, let me swallow the pill and take care of my business, tell my family. And my partner said they killing me with my smoke detector. I knew that was coming,
Feel free
but
if you wanna change it, you can always change it or take the battery out. It's feel free, no problem at all.
no, it's cool. I have to get a whole ladder and everything, man. It's all good. I ain't
Oh,
tripping
okay,
on it.
fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it is what it is. My thing is to project and get what I need to get out of it and have some fun with it. If they want to dissect that one, they can. So, but yeah, man, it was life, man. It wasn't a good situation with that, man. So
Mm. I'm still stunned. We got put a car on fire, cheating, and then abuse.
yeah, man. And the crazy part about it is, oh man, I'll be okay. They talking about I'm losing this fight with my smoke detector. I'm gonna lose it, but I'm gonna win it at the same time.
Mm.
But how did I deal with that, man? I dealt with it by just pushing through. I kind of like, I dated some women that wasn't so attractive. I said maybe that's it. Maybe I had a certain type that wasn't that I needed to start looking from. You know what I'm saying? So once I started looking at them like hell, they was just as insecure as well. So
And obviously, you said obviously you dated older women as well. Do you know the reason why you feel like you're more drawn to older women?
well, for one, I like older women tend to just carry themselves different. You don't have to deal with a lot of the rhetoric, man. Oh, my kids here, and if they want you around, you're gonna see the kids. You're gonna come over. You're gonna cook. You're gonna have some fun. It ain't one of them type of things where you having to really prove a lot, but you still have to prove who you are as a man. But younger women, they tend to be too wishy-washy, man. And I just love a woman with hips. I love a woman that just has that natural look. And grown women, they tend to have that natural look, and that's kind of what I'm attracted to.
Interesting. I hear that. Definitely interesting. Okay, so what took you on to Ready to Love? Like, what was the reason why you wanted Ready to Love?
The reason why I went on to Ready to Love, man, I had been single probably about 3 years. I've dated, here and there, and I was like, what is there to lose? As far as nowadays, people don't really meet people at the gas station anymore like they used to, or doing at Walmart or down the grocery aisle. It's one of the type of things where like, dang, when can I actually meet somebody that's genuine? So even nowadays, people meet on social media. They inbox people. They see you how you move. They inbox you. Hey, I think we should go out. So you flirt a little bit. So that's almost become the norm. So when it came to Ready to Love, I was more so driven by that. Just let's have some fun. What more do you have to lose as far as from a socialization standpoint? And how can it wasn't even about my brand. It wasn't about me trying to be on as a fashion stylist. It was just about me really genuinely trying to find somebody. I built this thing called Damonte. I had to build myself up with my confidence, And then I was ready to project who I was and ready to showcase and just have some fun with it. So when Ready to Love presented itself, I had people that was on social media. They were like, "Hey, I think you should be on here." And I was like, "I ain't gonna do that, man. Ain't just, it is what it is." So I had got an inquiry, not knowing that some of the producers had already inboxed me about being on the show. That just shows that it wasn't about the projection. It was just about how I was as a person. So I didn't really think they really knew who I was, but I said, well, what do I have to lose? So I said, let's have some fun with it. So like, let's go.
I hear that. So obviously you thought it's just an opportunity, not necessarily anything crazy, but it's an opportunity at the end of the day, which is fair. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Obviously getting onto the show, like I said, you go through very rigorous tests and stuff like that. But who was it that first out of the ladies caught your eye? Who was it the first person that caught your eye?
Man, because this sounds crazy. It was well, the first thing about it, I don't know if y'all would tell you can I tell you this backstory real quick? So when I first walked on on set, guess who was my classmate? Just take a random guess. All right, I tell you. So April was my classmate. I went to high school with her, and
Oh yes, he did say.
yeah. So that in itself, that was the first thing that caught my attention. I was like, damn, my classmate on here. I mean, okay, here we go. So before from the eye test, I mean, I just like the way Coach she looked, and I like the way Lex, looked. Both of those were kind of eye catching to me as well. And it wasn't because of their skin complexion or their hair texture. It was just they just had a certain movement about themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's who caught my attention. Miko, she was cool. Yeah. Yeah, she just had that grown woman body, you know what I'm saying? As far as the top area, the bottom,
Oh, the woman.
she just had that grown. Lex she was slim personality from what I saw, you know what I'm saying? So it was just the eye test.
Okay, for eye test wise, okay, Kashia, I hear you. I'm with you. All right, cool. So obviously you get put on the show. Like who did you connect with on that day? Because I know you weren't there for very long, but who did you connect with? Because I know you guys were on set for like 12 something hours. But who did you connect with? Who you felt like you had a conversation with? Like it's worth exploring to see if we got something more.
Man, it was crazy. It was actually those two that I really had the longest conversation with. As you know, sometimes if anybody been a part of production, sometimes stuff get navigated throughout the whole day of the set. And so, as far as what I was presented with and was able to converse with the longest, those two had a really good conversation. I feel like the vibe was cool. I don't know if they was attracted to me in that sense, but as far as from the vibe that I got, I think there was a guy. I think it was a good vibe going on. So. Now, April was a whole different subject. That was the person that I had the longest conversation with. It probably because they felt like we knew each other, and so you guys only saw a 5-minute clip versus a 45-minute conversation that made me seem like I was all over the place, which was weird. So.
He's back, guys. He's back. He's back. He's back. I thought he was changing his alarm and he was using it as an excuse.
Oh man, you got jokes.
I thought he was using his alarm. I thought he was like,
man,
change that alarm.
It's all good, man.
But okay. So obviously, Kashia was one that you connected with, etc. Had a good conversation or at least good scene, eyesight test, etc. Then obviously you got a little bit deeper with one or two other people as well. So, okay, so obviously you weren't there for very long. So, out of all the ladies, who was it that eye test and obviously person who had the right kind of makeup in terms of individual? Who would you say who's a top of that? Who was a top for you that you felt like what, this is worth exploring a bit more, at least to find out where this could actually go?
I probably would have said Coach Hill on the same token. Now I gotta spill the sale on this one. It was funny that Mika actually asked me like a nutcracker when she put the side by side picture on me.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, what the hell? You gonna ask me about my fashion sense and then going, but I said, I get it. She's young. That was the last thing she probably seen as ABC. So Nutcracker, I get it. So it was one of the type of things where I was kind of caught off guard by that, but I didn't really piggyback on that too much. But she was attractive too. But that just kind of, when I seen how everything was edited, I was like, well, I'll be down. So that kind of threw me off guard from a funny standpoint. But Coach C was the one I think from an eye test, I just like, she just had a different, sass about herself.
Is that the kind of woman that you normally go for?
Yeah. Be honest with you.
Okay, I hear you. So obviously, because she is usually your type, but obviously as the show goes on, you got to explore different connections on the first day as well. Now you mentioned obviously you knew April as well. I mean, so you guys obviously didn't connect in the show, I guess, in that way. I don't know if you guys did,
I don't.
or did
So
show it.
when it came to April, I think more so, I think that she probably looked at me like, damn, she was a cheerleader, I was a football player. I've been knowing her for 28 years. It was like, damn, that's my homeboy. I've been knowing, I ain't really never seen D like that. So I never knew if she really was attracted to me in that sense. So I don't think there was a lot more chemistry as far as eye contact, as far as connections. I don't think she probably gave off to the producers that she was really feeling me like that. And so when they got into the deliberation, I think it was more so like, dang, I don't really see anything higher than what I saw him in high school. And that's kind of what she gave off, like the person I used to be versus who I am now as a man. If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah. So how did you feel obviously about being, picked off as number one to go? Like, were you expecting it, or was it something that was a bit of a shock? Like, what was your thought process?
Man, I was caught completely off guard. I didn't see it coming. I started looking at how everything was projected as time progressed. As far as even with we playing the games, I'm like, damn, I was a little bit too laid back. I was too quiet. I was more so just like, damn, I'm just gonna have some fun. I don't want to come off too strong. So I was really confident about who I was, but I wasn't arrogant. I was more so just let me just kind of play it. And I think someone made a sense. They made a comment. I acted like a business social versus a mixer, and I have to rebuttal on that. I was like, more if you ask me what I do and what I've been done, and the only question you get is the back end of my response. Of course, it's going to seem like I'm talking about myself all the time because you don't hear what they ask me first. So I have to say that first in regards to the people that said, well, he's just talking about himself. No, they asked me the question first. I answered. And so they just edited the part where they were saying that they could have been doing me a favor and say, we just want to highlight what he's doing. Not versus, hey, this is what she asked him first.
I hear that. I definitely get that as well. Okay. I hear that 100%. So obviously, look, obviously having to be voted out first on the show is never a nice thing. We wish that Ready to Love didn't do that because it just kind of ruins at least the experience a little bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, for you then, like I said, you got to connect with who you need to connect with, etc. And then obviously you ended up going home. What did you learn?
Hey man, you only have one life to live. People gonna talk about you. They're gonna say that you this, that, and the other. They're gonna rag on you. What I learned about myself during this time is probably I have to open up in a sense. If I do come across something, really allow myself to really not necessarily sell myself, but more so tell what I'm bringing to the table instead of just being too lax with it. I think I was too lax and too, but also very transparent as to where I wanted to be. But I think for the most part, when I came on the show, I think I was just too laid back. But knowing what I want and what I learned about myself is I have to really be assertive more so.
Why do you feel like you came into that place so relaxed or so laid back? You said, like you said, obviously when you approached it, you were a bit more laid back. What was going through your mind and your head as to why you approached it so laid back?
If we go back to the story when I was talking about being molested at 5 years old, last year I just started dealing with that. as a man. So at 43 years of age, I just started dealing with life experiences, life trauma. So when it came to making myself vulnerable and dealing with life expectations and trying to get to another point, that's probably where I was. I was really at a point where I was really starting to understand who I was as a man as far as dealing with childhood hurt. So when it came to that particular thing, it was more so like, dang, I'm ready to do it now. So I came off as like baby steps, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready, but I'm taking these baby steps. So here we go. You know what I'm saying? So it was more so life was lifing, man. Life was really lifing.
So obviously then, having, like I said, having those moments where you came in a bit more relaxed, like you said, that was a bit more chilled, a bit more passive in that sense, and you linked it back beautifully to obviously childhood as well, and some of the trauma that you also faced as well. Um, did you honestly feel ready to be in a relationship? While I was on the show, did you feel ready that you were actually ready to be in a relationship?
I actually felt like that I was ready because the characteristics that I had dealt, who I was as a man. When I say as a man, I mean self-evaluation. You have to evaluate yourself. You have to be single for so long to understand you have to love yourself first. And if you don't love yourself and you try to get rid of the just the wash, man, because a lot of times, you know, a lot of women, some people as men, we give off good energy, but also there's bad energy. So when it comes to making yourself vulnerable, whatever type of, if a woman seems like she's opening her smile within that first 3 minutes, you can really tell where the conversation is going to go. And if it's off, as a man, you're probably not going to want to open up to her. And so when it came to the show, I think I was ready, but I didn't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? I the previous seasons. I understood where it can possibly go, but I didn't go into saying I'm gonna find my wife the first day. You know what I'm saying? I said I'm gonna lay it low, and we're gonna see where it goes.
Okay. So obviously, I mean, what happens after the show sometimes is that people end up dating after the show, right? People start
Hmm.
making movements after the show. Was anybody that was? Did you try to pursue anything with anybody after the show?
Uh, so I've actually, it's a funny story, man. One of the other castmates, we actually went to college together. We didn't realize it until after the fact, and I was like, we went to college together, right? And it was kind of funny about that story. But I've reached out to him just to kind of check because I'm cool with everybody. I kind of got out the way. I don't know who all dated, who had what type of relationship with who. So I was kind of like I'm just cool. If I speak to you, I speak to you. Now, someone did reach out to me the day I got eliminated. Um, the day I got eliminated, somebody did reach out to me and say, "Hey, I just wanted to see how you was doing and things of that sort." But other than that, man, it was definitely a hell of an experience.
Okay. I guess obviously, I think let's take it, let's bring it back because listen, look, RTL, we went on there for very long and there wasn't much that happened. No, it was a question. The ladies were talking about your stability and your credit. What is that? What was the story behind that?
Man, so the story behind it was um, when you have accomplished everything that you have accomplished in regards to 8 sold out fashion shows, published book author, modeling agency, things of that sort. It's like, man, if I want to take myself and get this big old building, there are certain things you got to have grants together, things of that sort. So she had asked me a question and I just answered it. So it wasn't like I had just got my stuff together. I got my stuff together. It was just a grown person conversation that credit was highlighted in a sense that me being all over the place. The stability part is not there because if they fact find, they'll see what I'm about. So it was just kind of interesting how that particular conversation got highlighted at the end. Even when it came to the tattoo question, when you're out there on set, man, it's hot,
Yeah, that
you're
was.
hungry, um, you don't never understand how things are transpiring. And so sometimes you might space out for just an inkling of a second. And the question was, hey, what's that tattoo in your hand? And I just didn't hear what she had said. So it made it seem like it was just randomly asked. But I told him that each one of my tattoos is a very significant part of my life as to what I've been through as a man. It kind of tells a story. So that's the story behind the tattoos. If they didn't hear me or if they wanted to really understand what was going on with my tattoos, I really didn't hear a question, and I had kind of spaced out because I was hungry. Yeah.
Okay, so you spaced out at a point, and then obviously when they asked about the tattoos, you didn't actually you didn't
I didn't
actually
really
hear the
hear.
question.
Yeah, I didn't really hear.
Damn.
And so
Yeah,
it made it
that's
seem like I was just. It made it seem like I was looking for some cuckoo birds or some shit. I was like, man, this is some bullshit. So when I saw it, I was kind of pissed off. I said, well, damn, they got me.
so. What does the tattoo on your arm mean then?
With you talking about? I have 35.
The
So
hand. Yeah.
this one is Elements of Style. It's my acronym for Elements of Style, my brand. It's EOS.
Okay. And it has a meaning. Is in the elements. It represents you or something. What?
Elements of Style is my brand name.
Yeah.
Elements of Style is pretty much my fashion brand, LLC, Elements of Style, the business I started 5 years ago. I got it tattooed on my hand. I got my grandmother tattooed on my fraternity brand. Um, so each one of my tattoos is a scar in my life when I had to transition through pain. And so I got tattoos to help me get through that particular story in my life. So that's why I have so many tattoos because I've been through a lot. So every time I've been through a lot, give an example. I got this tattoo on my neck because when my grandmother passed, I was grieving. So in order for me, when I was grieving, I got a tattoo because that's the way I was feeling that day.
Okay. So, is that a common thing to happen to you, that where you get deactivated and you zone out or you disconnect because of something? Because obviously this one happened because obviously you were hungry. Um, so is that a regular thing in relationships that you can deactivate or zone out in those moments?
Bro, I'll be honest with you. I can if you piss me off and run, I can be talking to you one day and then you say the wrong thing. I just cut you off so quick. It's not a good place to. It's not a good thing at all. Trust me, it's not. And it's something that I'm working on. Maybe just having a conversation as to why did I give out something that made them trigger that, or is it something that needs to be addressed? We need to talk about as grown people. So when it came to cutting people off, it's like when you've been hurt so much or when you have to deal with something, you learn to pick up that mentality, be hard. And it's the part of what drives you. Me, it drove me
Mm.
because if I have that type of cutter spirit, that means I'm not gonna allow certain energy allow me to be in my space. And if I feel like you're not good for my energy, I'm gonna cut you off.
That's a quite a it's quite a response to that. I mean, that is going to be very difficult then to at a current state to make it a long-term relationship work, because obviously if if you're a person that gets into a space where you can be so dismissive, yeah, or should I say or disassociate, that can make you miss important aspects of the relationship, as you disassociate. So let's go back just before Ready to Love, when you kind of found out that information, obviously, about what you had experienced. Do you feel like you were ready to love at that point in time? Before Ready to Love, do you feel like you're ready? Looking back now, that you feel like you're ready?
That's a good question, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. That is a damn good question. I would say yes and no. Um, the yes part of be saying when you tired of being single, you want companionship, you want to be loved, and you want to love someone. The no part about that is, have I addressed everything that I need to address as a man? And the question at that particular time, no, I didn't. But I knew I want it. It was I was filling voids. You know what I'm saying? just to kind of push through. And that's where you just needed to have the right person to have that type of conversation, because it wasn't going to happen overnight, but just needed someone just to balance you out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was needing, even if it just been that companionship that of a woman that I was needing or lacked. Um, During that particular point, I had say for instance, I had vibe with somebody, we exchanged numbers, we started building chemistry. I just needed someone just to say, hey, let's take it slow, but not to the point where we're going too slow, but let's help build each other up. Because this is what I'm dealing with as a man. This is what I need to deal with. And this is what I have never dealt with. And this is right now, this is where I need you to be just a friend. And the rest will take care of itself. And so Asher, I don't think I was really mentally ready to really go head over heels, but I was definitely ready to love.
So you weren't ready to go head over heels, but you're ready to love. So your love would have been taken a bit slow, just trying to explore things in that area. Okay. I mean, so not trying to be over head over heels, but would be but ready to love. Wouldn't that still mean that you weren't ready to love? Because if you're not ready to be head over heels, or you're not ready to give all, then would that really mean that you're ready to love at that point in time? And by the way, this is not an indictment, because you found out some information that has obviously changed your life. So
Oh yeah,
I'm just wondering.
absolutely. I don't. So the being transparent is being honest with yourself. And so when you're not honest with yourself as an individual, those type of things will get tainted, because a woman can see that blockage or what's holding you back. And sometimes if you have the right woman can see through it and help you push through it. So with that particular show, I think it was more so it was what I needed. It was like, now did I say that it messed with my self esteem a little bit? It didn't mess with me, but it did kind of fuck with me. I'm like, damn, I got kicked me. You know what I'm saying? So it did kind of mess with you, because now I'm trying to make myself vulnerable, but from whatever reason, I was like, ain't good enough right now. You know what I'm saying? Now, the crazy part about that whole deliberation, my name was never mentioned to go home. You know what I'm saying? That was the most intriguing part about
Oh, you wasn't supposed to go home?
that.
Someone else wanted to go home.
I don't think so. My name was brought up, but never mentioned to go home.
Mm.
So William's name was mentioned to go home, or they brought his name up, but my name was never. Now they could have been somehow they edited on the back end, but for TV purposes, my name was never mentioned until it was actually time for me to actually go. That was the first time it was actually saying, "Hey, you go home."
Why do you think they sent you home in the end?
Um, Man, it's not even meant for me to figure that out, Doc. Hey, at the same time, you never understand why things might happen. It could have been doing me a favor, because they knew they probably saw something. They're like, man, his energy just off. It could have been just, hey, let's give him a chance. Can't put everybody on the show. So I understand how production works, but in the same token, I'm not one of those people that will put myself in a position where I won't able to be a part again. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
By giving too much information. So I would say this: it was a hell of an experience. I had a tremendous time, but I still can't fathom why they kicked me off. That's not meant for me to understand.
So, I mean, how did you find out this information? Because clearly someone's obviously telling you that your name wasn't mentioned, because you wasn't in the deliberation with the ladies unless you were and you didn't tell us.
um, I spoke with some people. Like I said, some people did check on me after the show, and they just say, "Hey."
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You're back.
oh no, I did have some people that was really genuine. I feel like I met some really good people that was genuine. And for the most part, they was like, we weren't expecting you to go home. They thought, just like with any show, they expect certain people to go home based on their energy or what their perception is. And I wouldn't even say for the eye test. It wasn't because I felt like I was the most, um, my personality was the biggest. I was probably too laid back, Nick. That probably was a hindrance in a sense of what they was wanting me to give on the show. So I couldn't figure that out, man. And I'm just, it is what it is. But I knew had I had another opportunity, I was gonna bring to the table, because you probably saying to yourself like, damn, they ain't the same dude we seen on TV.
I hear that. Okay.
So it's all good, man.
No, it's interesting. So, I mean, obviously, looking back at the show yourself, obviously, you've watched it. You know, why didn't you? Why do you think like you had to go though? Like, if you really look back on it, just look back on it from the show. Why did you have to go? Because obviously, of course, they were talking about, they were talking about, they're talking about obviously, credit and stability and this and that. But why is it that you feel like you had to go? Why do you know why you had to go?
I don't feel like I had to go. I think I was chosen to go. So I knew what I was bringing to the table, as far as my mentality, as far as my drive, as far as what I wanted to present with the ladies, as far as the dating aspect, as far as where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do, what I wanted to experience, who I wanted to experience it with. Those things were already in my head once I kind of assessed the whole situation, kind of getting a synopsis of which individual I feel like who I can vibe with first. What lady I think I liked her smile, I liked the way she moved, her dress, her smell, her perfume. Who I feel like that was genuine, that we can build up to that point. So I had already assessed that by the end of the night. So by the time I was caught up as the last two, I was completely caught off guard. So, like I said, I'm not perfect by any means, as far as that credit statement. I've heard far worse on those type of shows. I mean, on Ready to Love than just a credit. So I don't think that was just a significant part as to why I was sent home. I mean, hell, if you seen the last two episodes, you understand. So I don't know, man.
Hmm. Could it be that the ladies just didn't see it in you? I mean, could it be that listen, I get the fact that you weren't meant to go home, but I'm saying, could it be that obviously that the ladies saw something in you? That's why you at the bottom, at least.
It could have been. I could have been not their type. I'm actually okay with that. If I wasn't their type, and they probably could have said, "Man, I don't like the way he wear his beard. I don't like the way his skin looked, or what he had on. His fashion sense just wasn't my type of vibe. He's doing too much." It could have been any of those things, and I would have been perfectly cool with that. But it's somebody out there for somebody. As far as maybe I had it could have been the way I looked at my smile when I turned a certain way, and they seen something that they didn't like. Like, I'm good on that one. Could have been anything. But I do know that nobody's perfect. I could have seen their imperfections as well. So it is what it is. I could have dissected each person and saying, like, this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. As a matter of fact, I don't like that right there. So it could have been any one of those things. They could have said the same thing about me.
Yeah, internalize. Was there anything else on the show anything else up on the show that we didn't get to see or we did get to see that you wanted to address?
You said run it by me one time, brother.
Oh, sorry. I said, was there anything on was anything on the show that you didn't get to address already that you would like to address or you like to
Uh,
speak to?
Man, for one, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to, this platform to be on your show, and to kind of just, say who I was and what the people can kind of get a feel for my personality. Other than for my smoke detector going off that it just went off, I think I'm actually good, because I know I'm getting my ass roasted right now, which is cool. I can take a joke, just like they ragged on me talking about my suit look like a whole Pepsi. Hey man, as a fashion stylist, man, you got to take the wins with the losses. So I mean, I didn't feel like it was a loss. I wore what I wanted to wear. If you know anything about my clothing, I wear anything. I'm not afraid to rock whatever I want to rock, and it is what it is. But from a opportunity standpoint, man, I had a blast with the show. I don't have any. I didn't look at any women on there that was just like, damn, I can't stand her because she got me kicked off. It was more so. It was just I had a fun. I had a real good time, man. And like I said, one thing I did observe, and as it's talking to a brother, is self-evaluation and learning to address and being vulnerable. For one thing, I did look at some of your shows and your content, is you have to address you first before you can open yourself up. And if you never address you individual, whoever you're gonna come across is gonna be hurt. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times people don't never address who they are or their imperfections or why they do the things they do or why they shut down. And just by our small conversations, like, damn, I need probably to understand where if I was on a show and I shut down, is that an excuse with the woman I'm with? No, it's not an excuse, but I have to learn how to deal with it. And that's one of the things how I'm deal with a woman that's ready. And if I'm in the shutdown mode, that's not going to work. And so I just, it's a process, but it's a healing process as well. And a lot of times people don't understand you got to have patience when it's dating thing. But
I love the fact you can have that. I
oh,
love that you can see it that way. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah,
And this, shutting down is you're not the only one. I shut down too. So, I know that for me personally, when I'm shutting down, or we call it deactivation, where you're trying to separate from the scenario, it's because things have become overwhelming. In that moment of time, right? And so you kind of want to deactivate and get back to your place of safety. Oftentimes it's isolation, being able to be isolated and just kind of be by yourself. Oftentimes for some people it's different. Some people like to binge watch TV. Some people like to, go and do something else. Whatever your way of kind of recentering yourself, that's a part of that. But the shutdown is a real thing. Yeah, if you shut down in a relationship, you kind of leave that person isolated and alone. So yeah, it might not have been the best best option to be on a dating show, but it's also a learning curve too, right? You now know. I think your perspective on this. I think obviously, like you shared earlier on, and I appreciate you sharing that with that kind of. We appreciate the fact that you were so kind of like open about what you had been through and experience as well. Um, Now, obviously, that's been a few months away, the show, and obviously, you're kind of in your own zone now as well. Someone might ask, are you in therapy at the moment? Are you in some counseling, just kind of help, you grow and just develop from the space?
that is. I have actually one of my sorority sisters. She's actually a counselor.
Beautiful.
She actually offered for me to come to her practice. To come and get therapy. Even though, as a man, you have to learn how to swallow your pride. And one thing we
Yeah,
don't
it's not
do,
easy.
we never really want to roll with our pride, and that's one of the. I probably would think I need a session or two, just to really kind of get me over that hump that I'm dealing with, as far as especially the public eye. Me getting ready for New York Fashion Week, leaving Sunday. There's a lot more eyes on you. What I'm saying, a lot of stuff comes with it. A lot of times they want to be in your position, but it's a lot that comes with it. So learn how to navigate and not shut down. Because one thing you notice, I had a good friend of mine that just passed away, brother Daniel Jones. He was MD for Janet
So,
Jackson, and he was an MD for Justin Timberlake, and he was an MD for Erica Badu. And that was one of my good brothers, man. One thing about creative people, we go to a different place to make us creative, but a lot of times people don't understand what it takes to get to that point. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
And so one thing that I'm learning about myself is I can't shut down. And even when I'm getting ready to reject something so dope, I can't shut down because that's a scary place to be in. Because just like I told myself, if I get to the point where like Michael Jackson, Prince, James Brown, all these great artists, you ever know they had these big ass homes, but they always by themselves?
mm-hmm.
I never want to get to that
Operations, huh?
point. I never want to get to that point, Doc. So I have to do things that's going to put me in a position to make myself vulnerable and make sure that my circle of people allow me to be open up and be the person I need to be to find my wife.
I'm hearing that. So, for you right now, are you dating at the moment?
I'm single, bro. I'm single.
Single.
Just chilling right now. I'll be 44 in July, so my mother was like, "You gotta have me some grandkids one day." I said, "Mom, I got a niece that's 5 years old and a nephew that's 15. Hey, man, it'll happen when it needs to happen." So
I'm with you on that, to be honest. Listen, there's no push, there's no rush. It's just, like I said, it's just a thought process. But I respect the fact that obviously you're single.
Oh, I got
You
now.
can.
Part about that, bro. I have had a lot of women just inquire, like, "You got sent home too early," and my inbox been pretty full. I say that on IG, Facebook, and interesting. So it's been interesting.
Okay. I mean, is there anything else that you would want to address from the show? And if not, is there anything you're doing at the moment as a project? I know you're doing New York Fashion Week, that you'd want us to get behind.
Yeah, man. At the end of the day, man, I'll just say this: watch out for the from future episodes that I might appear on. And it's gonna be pretty fun, man. Just to see how things shake out. I'm just gonna sit back and just relax and enjoy the show, just like you guys, and be me. Have fun with it and change my damn smoke detector while they ragging on me.
My question is, would you do another reality TV show though? Like I know obviously this
Absolutely.
one that's
Absolutely,
okay.
I would. I would have. I learned a lot about doing reality TV, man. So I know how to move now. So trust me, I do. There's a switch that we all flip, and when we flip it, we know what time it is.
I'm hearing you. Okay. If are you doing anything at the moment that we can get behind? Any particular kind of projects? Anything that we can get behind? I know you're New York Fashion Week, but what can we get behind and support you on?
So my Instagram is of course Damonte Anderson, Damonte. Last name Anderson does have the blue check mark on it. I am verified on it on my Facebook. Damonte Anderson as well. I'm verified as well. You can actually go get my book. It's on Amazon. Don't be afraid to show the world your signature look. You can type my name in, my book come up. Um, I got another fashion show coming up probably later on this year, and I'm probably going to do it in Texas. I have been asked to come back for New York Fashion Week in September as well, and I have been presented to come to LA. So, being a designer, man, I actually love doing what I do.
Come on.
As far as my photography, I love doing photography work. I love doing videography. I love making movies. I did my first movie trailer as well. So I'm pretty creative and crafty
Well done.
at the same time, man. So I just, if they can find me, reach out. They'll fact find, and I'm gonna change this smoke detector because I'm gonna keep on reiterating. Because my brother's saying they chimed in and say, "Man, they lighting your ass up." So,
So obviously, before we go, I mean, listen, look, you were in my comment section when Patricia was on. You felt like
mhm.
her narrative wasn't necessarily correct. Tell me, what was your thought process to Patricia's narrative? Did you disagree?
I She came off as my ex, the one that burned my car up.
Oh, what you mean by that?
She just came off as like a. You remember Strange from Boomerang? You gonna get some of this? She came off just like this, like what can you do for me mentality versus what can we do for each other? Like how can we build each
Mm.
other up? It was never about allow. It wasn't even her tone. I think more so it was her her projection. And as a singer, you know
Oh,
how to project your voice. And if you projecting your voice at a certain time as a guy, you're not going to be receptive to how her tone is. And so she never had any modulations that made it seem like she can be sensitive or there was nothing sexy about that conversation. So I was just like, this shit ain't gonna go well. So in the same time, I'm looking back and I'm listening, I'm like, and I'm looking at Jonathan facial expression. He's like, man, I'm good on this one. All right, you gonna finish your sentence or what? And so there was no chemistry, but she didn't allow the man. Um, she wasn't gonna allow the man to make her feminize herself. She never made herself feminine for him to make her feel as a woman to feel sexy in that sense. If that makes any sense.
no, actually, it's not making sense. Just explain that for me. Go a little bit deeper for me. Break
You
it
said what
down.
now? Which part?
That part, that feminine part you wanted to explain.
Yeah,
Just
she
explain that a
she
little bit more
made
for me.
like her movement. It was just so she was just steady hand movement. It was steady. There was nothing feminine about her gestures that she was giving off. Sometimes when you're talking to a woman, you want to see a little moving of the hips or a little wink of the smile or something. Yeah, or something that get like, hey, I'm feeling you too. It wasn't. It was like an interview process that she was giving off. It wasn't more so like, dang, and now maybe she wasn't attracted to the brother, or vice versa, he wasn't attracted to her. But there was no chemistry that led off with either one of her conversations that allowed the man to make her the woman that she felt like she was being. That's just my
Mm.
observation.
No, that's okay. So I mean, so you're saying in the sense of you didn't really get that feminine energy from her, really and truly.
No,
A lot of the mannerisms weren't necessarily given that kind of energy. Okay, I mean, okay. I mean, did you guys get to have a conversation on the show? Did you get to have a conversation?
no, we didn't. No, I didn't get a chance to meet her. That was my first time actually seeing her personality. So
Mm,
I didn't get a chance to really. That was just the eye test from what I was able to convey from what she had stated on TV. And from what I had saw, she was just more so just hard, and nothing wrong with, they could have said the same thing about it. I didn't give any personality. I didn't smile other than I maybe joked one or two times. They could have said the same thing about me, but she didn't give off a lot of her isms wasn't feminine. You know what I'm saying?
mm.
Maybe I would had I saw her walk up to him or something. I could have seen the way she moved. Oh damn, she's sexy, but it wasn't. She didn't give that type of energy. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. Okay, I do get what you're saying. Okay. Um, did you feel like when she obviously was talking about the men that you felt like she was dogging the men out at that point? Because I know she was talking about the men. Is that what you thought?
Man, it's funny about that whole set, man. A lot of some of the women even said we wasn't attractive. I'm like, damn, y'all could have just went on. If we was ugly, what I'm saying? So if they wasn't feeling us in a sense, I think they had the option to just roll out if we wasn't their type more so. So that was said on the radio station, like, hey, they wasn't the most attractive women. I like y'all had the 2 feet to keep walking if y'all wasn't
Mm,
feeling us like that. But hey, it is what it is. If we wasn't their type, we weren't their type.
mm. Did you try to date Patricia after the show?
Nah, uh, nah,
No, because she reminded you of your exes too much.
man. Say she. I mean, she's not a bad looking woman. I mean, she's an attractive woman. She just seemed like she's just hard.
Definitely.
Yeah, she was hard. Just
And you didn't want to break down those walls?
which one? Which wall is you talking about, Doc?
I'm talking about the emotional walls.
Man, anything is possible. Everyone needs someone. Everyone just needs that person to make them open up, in a sense, to allowing them just to smile a little bit, because a smile can go a long way. If you can crack a smile, it's not that you have them, but it's a way to make them feel it's okay for right now. Now, the way you continue that afterwards, that's solely on how the communication stacks up afterwards.
Mm. Hmm. Okay. So okay. So do you think that she was the right person to go that first time round?
Uh, like you stated, man, I don't think neither one of us was really given a fair chance to really be who I was. It could have been for her, and I speak by it could have been her nerves. So it could have been her defense mechanism, not taking up for how she was stating. It could have been this is my defense. I'm gonna come off as hard because I'm really ready, but I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? So it could have been maybe she needed to loosen up or have a lot more conversations with other people that probably would allow her to just have fun. But other than that, I think had we been presented or just allowed to have another chance to open up, I think we all would have probably had done well had we been a part of the other mixer or whatever. So I think it was just one of them type of things where we wasn't getting a fair chance, you know what I'm saying? So that decision that was made, it was made by that. So
Hmm. But as you can see, obviously she wasn't very feminized, as you said yourself. So that's probably why she got sent home, right? Obviously amongst
why
other
you think I
things.
was sent
So
home?
I mean, they said you had the bad credit and you weren't stable.
Yeah, that's what their assumption was.
Is that not? So that's what. So that's why I asked you on. So what did they? What did the ladies see in you that they wanted to put you? They put you in the bottom two. So they didn't. The producers didn't let you go. But I'm saying the ladies got to choose who they're gonna put in the bottom. Why were you at the bottom? Why?
Man, I
What was
don't.
the ladies seeing?
I should have never brought. For one, I should have never said nothing about my credit, and I should have never said nothing about my stabilization. And
Mm,
that conversation would have. I did that to myself. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of them type of things where it was self wounded. I did that to myself. Had I not said it, even though I know who I am and what I'm about, I should have never said nothing about my credit.
mm. So the
Because
credit's what sent you home.
Yeah, that credit, man. They just like the key word. It's like action word. Ah, you said it. Go home. Bye.
No, you said obviously earlier on as well that you had experienced. Oh, at least you were saying that ladies don't necessarily hold good space for vulnerability as well,
Mhm.
right?
You said what?
So, did you feel like is that how it felt like on the show? Did you feel like the ladies weren't necessarily holding space for vulnerability on the show? Did you have
Um,
many of those conversations? Did you have many of those conversations with
I
people?
I think the conversations were just to be transparent. Some of my conversation were cut short because some people were directed, "Hey, you go move over here. You go talk to this person." So, um, from given the time that I was given to converse with certain people, I think it was vibing very well. But at the same time, we was on time. Like I said, it could have been something that was just a trigger word for them that they was hearing that maybe that conversation needed to move a different direction, and so they saw forth to do that. So I wasn't intimidated by that. I just I was only working with the hands that I was dealt with.
Mm. Mm. I guess obviously something's not clicking. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because I've come back from a long flight. I don't know. Something's not clicking, Damonte. Right? Um, because obviously, like I said, the ladies must have seen something, right?
Hmm.
Because you're in the bottom two, right?
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, we know that you want to be vulnerable. We know that you want to share yourself as well,
Hmm.
and open yourself up. You spoke a little bit about Patricia being feminized as well, wanting her to be more feminized, etc., as well. Um, I want to ask maybe a menacing question here. Do you feel like you carry a masculine frame yourself, and why?
Absolutely. 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 I do. I feel like I'm very masculine in regards to who I am. I'm very secure who I am, first of all. Um, as far as me being, you got to be secure what you are and who you are, and know what you bring to the table. Know how you can treat a woman, and knowing what you can have. You can be compassionate with a woman. So, as far as being masculine, knowing how to be that shoulder that she needs to cry on, how to, make her laugh, and when she needs to cry on, pray for her, make sure when she's having a bad day, can you check? There's a lot of different variables that comes with just being masculine. It ain't just the physical aspect; it's a plethora of things of it as you who you are as a man.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I can get that part. Um, I understand that part. I feel like I'm having a bit of deja vu. Okay, so I guess obviously, okay. So okay. So I know you were there for not a very long time. No, you weren't there
Hmm.
for a very long time. I don't know if I've asked this question. I don't think I've asked this question yet. Who did you feel like would be able to have a conversation about vulnerability that you'd feel safe to have a conversation with the ladies wise?
I
Who did you
don't.
feel like would be comfortable having a safe conversation about vulnerability with, where you could share some things with? I know it's early days, so it wasn't much time.
That is a good question. I don't know. I can be honest with you. I really don't know. Just from the first conversation and the time that was given, I don't know. Now I feel like it was some that was there, but I just don't know because I didn't get a chance to feel their personality long enough for me to actually converse with them to see if they was even comfortable enough to allow me where we can be comfortable with each other because I'm sure they have some stuff as well. So that's a two-way street. It's not so much on um, a one-sided thing. It's how can we build each other up because we both are dealing with different things and we both are having issues. And the reason why we on this show and have we addressed those long before then we want to be on it.
Obviously, like you were saying about the I was talking about the masculine and feminine frame as well. I think obviously I remember one part of the scene I thought was quite interesting actually because I was like but maybe it's because you do fashion, but there was a part where you and Alexis exchange communication and you tell her about her fashion sense right there and then. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why are you telling her about fashion sense in front of people about what
Well,
you
she
think
had asked
she
me a
should be?
question. She had,
Mm.
yeah, that's the part I'm telling you guys. You guys only hear the end of the conversation. You don't hear the build of it, build up. If you ask me a question and you hear the response of mine, you didn't hear the laughter between that. You just saw me answering this, stating my answer. So just like even with the other conversation, it was a question asked and I answered it. Now, would it be rude of me not to answer the question?
Nah, but I think obviously, maybe there's a tactful way of getting around that particular question,
You're right.
or answering that question.
It's,
I just want. I just want. I'm not saying necessarily it's a truth. I'm just saying like that's what I saw from the situation. I was like, yeah,
what did
probably
I
like
say?
correcting her.
Just what
I
did I
think you
say?
corrected her about something about the chain that she wore around her, or something like that, or whatever, whatever.
Oh no, she asked me. So I think that was Mika probably asked it. Well, so what would you do with this chain? I probably would have made it a little bit something because she had asked me for my opinion on it, and I gave my
Mm.
analysis and my point. Now, mind you, I done put together over 700 different combinations in regards to fashion, so it's not too many different things I tweak. If I'm just like if I'm dating a woman, women that have got intimidated because like I can't go out with you because you dress too well, but not knowing 90% of the time I'm in a cutout shirt and some basketball shorts because I don't like attention. I don't like dressing up. So when you ask me my opinion about my fashion sense or how should you look, I'm gonna give you, hey, this is what I think I would have did with this. And when we step out, we're gonna kill it. Because it wasn't because of that, it's the confidence behind it.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
As I drink my whiskey. But
Okay. Okay. Mm.
yeah, them
Oh,
edits,
I want
man.
to know.
Them
Oh yeah,
ed-
go 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 go.
Yeah, I said them
Go.
edits, they a mofo, man. I kind of look at it and like you said, some of that stuff is self inflicted by me talking about my credit, or that's something I could have talked about a different aspect of what I wanted to build versus using that particular terminology. So that probably, like you said, that was my go home phrase in the sense. So, I
Mm.
ain't tripping out. I mean, shit happens, and the only thing you can do is live from it. If I'm given an opportunity to go on another show, I just know not to use that word.
Mm. I hear that. Definitely hear that. So I don't know why all my questions are coming towards the end now, but um, I want to ask a question. Obviously, like I said, the previous relations that you had, right? You said,
Hmm.
that one was a cheater, one's a abuser, one's this and that, right? Um, and obviously, you were the common denominator. But so, what role do you feel like you played in these relationships, like breakdowns? What role do
Um,
you feel like you played in the relationship breakdowns?
what role I think I played? Probably in the sense of not really opening up when I needed to. A lot of times, as a man, like I said, dealing with your dad passing away, you trying to figure it out, shutting down because you're creative in a sense. Because I was all over the place, meaning I was singing with different groups. But when I say singing, I was singing with different artists, and so sometimes I'm gone on the weekends a lot, working with the band, working with bands because I do photography and video work with the bands, and not really being there when they did need that time for me to be there, and it made it seem like I was selfish. And as self evaluation is, I needed to slow down and be there for them when they needed the attention, not when I just wanted to see them.
Oh, so it sounds like you were with the shutdown dismissiveness. You was more in control. You felt like you was more in control of the relationship
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of the two.
yeah, I was just, if it was only seeing the person when it was convenient for me, not when they wanted to see, when they needed to see me as well. So
Not
self
justification.
evaluation, yeah, uh-huh. So it can go, I say maybe 2 weeks or so when they want to see me like that week or hey, let's go out. And I'm like, I'm just tired from working my ass off and knowing that they really needed me there, just for that emotional support and not necessarily when we just intimate all. So they needed more from me and I wasn't able to give that to them. And so that's where the frustration came from it because now it felt like I just wanted it about sex. And that's what the common denominator. It was good, but I only seen them when I wanted to be there for them, not when they needed me to be there for, late at night because I'm tired and, I didn't have a chance to go see you on Saturdays because I was busy doing my thing. Well, I can see you on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, but on the weekend I'm busy. And so when I started understanding, like, damn, I need to change this whole thing up. So, just self-evaluation, bro. Trust me.
I hear that, 100%. I hear that. Well, listen. Listen. I want to. I think I got a better perspective and understanding as well from yourself going forward as well. Um, Again, last thoughts. Give us your last thoughts. Any last thoughts are on your mind?
My last thoughts, man. It just, man, like I said, I'm thankful for the opportunity, man. Thank you for allowing me this platform on your platform, man. The blessings to you. So I don't take
For
it for
sure.
granted. I'm glad that I was able. Some people was able to hear my side of the story. As far as me being sit home, it wasn't that I didn't have my credit together. It was just a credit conversation came up, and it was a voluntarily done information with a classmate of mine that I've known for 28 years, and I was just talking about wanting to build an empire versus and certain things needed to be aligned because I done did all this. Now, what if I want to go get a building to have an event center or some things of that sort? Just certain things that needed to be addressed. So credit wasn't never an issue because I have my credit together. It was just more so that particular, they caught the end of that particular conversation and ran with it. And it made it seem like I was just all over the place and it wasn't stable. And that wasn't the case at all. It was just a ending of a conversation of a 45-minute conversation, and you guys caught 2 minutes of it on TV. And as far as the tattoos and things of that sort, I just pretty I didn't hear the conversation. As far as the dress situation, a question was asked. I gave my opinion on it. That was my assessment based on her analysis of my fashion sense. If it was that bad, she never would have asked for my opinion in my regards. So it was just that type of thing. As far as me being, loud and vibrant, hey, I got over 40 suits. I could have picked out either any one of them and what that day. It was just the one I chose to wear that day and, have some fun with it. And, it was hot. I just thought I'd be, cool. And the shoes I had on, I'm Christy with Louis Vuittons, it is what it is. So
That's what
I'm
it
a
is.
sneakerhead.
I've been like myself too. I can't even lie to you. So I'm definitely with you on that. But listen, Damonte, thank you, man. I appreciate you coming up in there. Definitely will definitely have you back as well because I think I didn't want to go too deep into your story. I don't, like I said, but I think it'd be great to tap in a little bit more into your story and
Hmm.
be able to have a bit more deeper conversation of that as well, going forward. But look, we wish you the best, going forward in terms of dating and choosing the right kind of person. Hopefully, there would not be a mad one again. Um, so in that particular aspect. So yeah, we look forward to hosting you again once more
Oh
on the
yeah,
show as
absolutely,
well.
man. So this is my verifying. This is me without the hat, so it ain't like I'm catfish. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So but yeah, man, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. I look forward to coming networking with you and see where this thing goes, man. So appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. Audience members, thank you so much for joining us on this conversation. It's been interesting. And I know you guys want to debrief after. I might be able to do the debrief tomorrow night for you guys. But listen, we're going to see you soon. All right. I appreciate you guys for keeping it cute, classy, and cultured in the chat as well. And we will see you the very next time as well. Much love, much appreciation. Stay locked, stay loaded. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Peace out.